Hello and good evening. You're welcome to another Straight Talk with myself, MsteeqMarlene, here in Heritage Studio. And like I said, usually in my I always say in my previous shows, where I'm here every Fridays talking entertainment and current affairs. But today I have a very special package of Straight Talk. When I say special, politics in Nigeria is around the corner. Precisely 9 days to go. On the 16th of February, we're expecting the Nigerian politics to kick off, the election to kick off. And we here in diaspora, we've been chatting and discussing it. And so many opinions has been called and attentions have been called regarding what's going on back in Nigeria. But today I'm not live like I usually am. It's a recorded, but also recorded today, being the 8th of February 2019. Like I said, you're welcome to my show, Straight Talk. Politics, like I said, we're discussing today, not entertainment and not lifestyle. I went to Nigeria a few months ago, recorded some interviews. But those interviews were done under Prime View because, like you all know too, I'm a co-host with Spencer Nianwelo, usually on Prime View, which is also televised, Prime View Television and Heritage TV. But those programs, I air them every Friday as usual. But this Friday is a special one because I intend to discuss before bringing the program to you, the recorded version of the program to you. And when I went today being the 8th, my guest today, recorded guest today, because I have two guests today, incidentally, and fantastically fun, of political fun I call it. I have two guests today, one recorded and one in the studio with me. And the recorded is none other than Senator Ben Uwajumogu, the Right Honorable Senator Ben Uwajumogu of Okigwe Okigwe Senatorial Zone. Senator Ben Uwajumogu, we know, had some problems with the governor, the now governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, and this dragged on and on and on, and questions were asked, speculations came on here and there, and finally I was able to get the answers from Senator, and I must say it was a privilege getting those answers. And until I start airing it, I have to introduce I'm having a conversation, a discussion, political discussion, with a political analyst here in UK, none other than Mr. Oladeji Dawudu. You're welcome to Straight Talk, sir.
Thank you, Wally.
Well, I had to talk a little bit, introduce, because you're aware of the show that will come up, the program that will come up after this, which is also recorded from Nigeria. Like I told my guests, or my audience rather, I was in Nigeria to record a few programs a few months back, and one of them is this of a senator that we'll talk about later on. But before we get on to the recorded programs, there's election we know is around the corner. Just 9 days to go.
Absolutely.
And Nigerians, home and abroad, are so worried about it. But the topic of today is misunderstanding between the politicians. Because there was a big misunderstanding between Okorocha and Senator Uwajumogu. And that took a drastic change in the politics of Imo State.
The landscape.
The landscape of Imo State. So now, what do you think, if I want you to contribute a little bit about what you think is really, who's benefiting and who's profiting in this misunderstanding between the politicians?
Basically, when we look at the political situation in Nigeria, the subject you raised now is not peculiar to only Imo State. You must have concern about that. That is what you investigated, and perhaps you must have talked to the gladiators. But looking at it generally, it's virtually in many states. Is it in Ogun State? Is it in Kano State? And so on and so forth. Even in Oyo State, many states, as I mentioned. So, looking at who benefited from this, from my own perspective, it is the politicians themselves.
Yeah.
Because in your funding, as in your intro, you do mention that you are going to unfold many things that people doesn't know.
Yes.
But their followers, at times, they do follow with some kind of blindness, and they will fall one-sided. But when anybody who has opportunity to come closer to this politician, you discover that they are friends, they are colleagues, they play politics, they eat in the same, they dine, they wine, and you'll be surprised that these people, the same people that many people are fighting, keep on malice, that is their followers, and then I see that the real actors are still friends.
Yes.
So now, what I would say is that head or tail, the politicians, they benefited.
Yeah, because I noticed, because I know usually when they're campaigning and all that, they buy the citizens somehow. They buy them off. I know Nigerian politics most times is the politics of money. And we talked about these two people were friends, like Senator Uwajumogu mentioned. They were friends for almost 20-something years before they came to work together in politics. But the Nigerian style of politics, I don't know if it's the same as here. Jumping from one party to the other. Like now, like you said, the politicians benefit. And tomorrow, the citizens still vote them in.
Absolutely.
So do you think, somehow, who to be blamed in this situation?
Okay, it's like I've had opportunity of discussing this in various forums.
Okay.
And most of the time when I and my colleagues, unlike when we're in the editorial meeting, we're discussing about what is happening in the political political landscape. At times some people believe that, okay, they put accused fingers on the politician.
Yes.
From my own point of view, you mentioned here in London, United Kingdom, we have two main political parties. We have the Labour Party, then you have the Green Party. That is the Democrat. The Conservatives. Putting at them, if we are going to look further, you can see the other party as well. That is the Lib Dem. You remember the other election we had a coalition government.
Yes.
So I don't think in Nigeria it's possible for us to have a coalition government.
Why do you say that?
No, because now let us look at the main political parties now. Who are the front runners.
Sorry to cut you short. There can be coalition, but not amongst the main parties.
As I'm saying.
There's all the small parties.
No, for instance, like the other parties now, was it not yesterday, the SDP, they adopted President Muhammad Buhari with a consensus that he's going to be their own candidate. Okay. So now, looking at that aspect, as I'm bringing the example of the United Kingdom here, that is where you have politics of ideologies. But when it comes to Nigeria, the political situation there is different. I cannot blame the politician. I'm going to blame the ordinary man on the street.
That's what I expected to hear. Yes.
That is
exactly
where
I'm going. Expected to hear, yes.
Because in your intro, you do mention that they are buying people.
Yes.
For instance, somebody take a market. You took some stuffs to market. You wanted to sell. You expect the buyer to come and buy what you want to sell, and you have actually priced your items. Yes. So if there's no anybody to buy, what's going to happen? Take no sense. It's like this common phenomenon. In economic standards, where there's no demand, there's no supply. So why are we blaming? You blame the ordinary people on the street.
The ordinary people, the civilians, are they getting enough training or enough education to let them understand that this is what's going on? Because there's this thing they call selling your rights, because it's selling your rights and the rights of your children.
Even mortgaging their own future, not even selling of their rights, because it's by a politician comes to one particular area now, campaign and money exchange, and it's like the person that gave money has actually bought their conscience. Then they went to go and cast their vote for that person. So do you want to tell me that if somebody has given somebody money, then the person been elected and is now at maybe National Assembly, perhaps whatever, at the end of affairs, is in control, does the person who had collected money had that audacity to challenge, or perhaps to say something that, okay, you are not, your performances is low, below expectation? What can you do? Because the voting, their conscience has been bought, as we said.
Yeah.
So if you collected money, you have no any right to criticize the person that paid you.
But also collecting this money, there are a lot of political promises that is made. I used to call it a blunder, but they'll make some promises. I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do that, and they end up not doing anything. Even if you collect money with intention that they will do those things they say they are going to do, and they end up not doing it.
It still comes to the same issue that we are addressing now. Somebody has collected money. When you collected money from somebody who had paid you, for instance, can you blame that person? It's like, let me give you an instance. You commission somebody, maybe you are constructing a house. Then there is a construction going on the site. You now need a carpenter. Now you're supposed to call a qualified person that will look at it and say, okay, I'm going to charge you this, I'm going to do that. Then the person, you now see somebody, maybe that person is not qualified. Perhaps you say, auntie, but I can do this, I can do that. You didn't vet the person to really ascertain if that person has that experience to do what he had promised to do. So if you go for cheap labor, or you go for somebody who is cheap, you gave money for that person, and a professional had actually approached you, and you have seen the price, or perhaps the price the person had mentioned, but you wanted to cut corner and go and pay somebody who is ready to take a peanut. But what are you going to get? You are going to get the result of unqualified person.
Okay. And another thing very, very crucial question I was going to ask or contribute, I want you to contribute in. I know you have been discussing politics for a long time, far back in 79 when we talked and all that. My problem now is seeing all the routes or the ways you've come across this particular election. How do you see it? Some people are scared, are saying it's going to be bloody, or how do you see it coming? Or what do you think is going to happen?
When you look at elections in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, let us quickly let's go back to 1979.
Okay.
Because after the long era of military era in Nigeria, that was 1979, when the election was about to take place. The main political parties that were registered then, I think, is National Party of Nigeria. Their flag bearer was late Alhaji Shehu Shagari.
Yes.
We had the Nigerian People's Party, headed by late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the winner of Onitsha. We had the Unity Party of Nigeria, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. We had the People Redemption Party, headed by late Alhaji Aminu Kano. Then you have Great Nigerian People's Party, led by Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim. So look at these five political parties. You can easily say that, okay, both of those five political parties, they came up with ideas.
That was when democracy
they came with ideas. Yes. Then looking at both parties, you can be able to know that if anybody is in any particular party, if you look at National Party of Nigeria, every actor there, every politician there, they were actually conservative.
Yes.
Coming to National Party, coming to Unity Party of Nigeria, that of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, these are Democrat, these are progressive, like Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Then Alhaji Aminu Kano as well. Yeah. But now, the situation, look at that election. The election in Nigeria, don't be surprised. There may be tension, there may be accusation, there may be counter-accusation, there may be allegation, there may be counter-allegation.
I didn't think they were money hungry that time.
Oh, it was the same thing. It was the same era. Only problem was that, you see, Now we are in digital age.
Yes.
It seems things have advanced.
Yes.
That time you can easily just say maybe the money that is changing hand is not that lucrative,
yes,
not that much.
Yeah.
It was promises upon promises of free education. Shagari MPN was emphasis on food,
yes.
That is going to be food and shelter. It was a free education. So everybody, you know, every party with their manifestos.
Yes.
So no any tension building that, okay, election. So later, after that, the Second Republic comes to an end on the 31st of December 1983. Then this Major General Muhammad Buhari came into the scene, where they launched war against indiscipline before it ended on August 27, 1985. And then General Ibrahim Babangida came with a very long transitional, process.
Yes.
Another party was introduced then, SDP and NRC.
Yes.
Look at that election at that time. Because that party was funded by government. It wasn't that maybe there were some people, but still, yeah, there was undertone, there was some certain hand behind, whereby the politicians still played that role on them. Do you remember some 23 political aspirants then, presidential aspirants then, that Babangida disbanded?
Yes.
It disbanded them and banned them based on the fact that the same money that changed hand. So the issue of money changing hand in Nigerian politics, the issue of building tension in election, you can eradicate it. 1999, you could remember what happened.
But now it's like it's becoming more bloody than before.
As far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen any changes.
Yeah.
Now, this forthcoming election now, the only thing that I see that made it to be so, the reason why people were doing, focusing on tension, that something is going to happen, I pray nothing will not happen. Because now the two main political parties, the APC, the PDP,
yes,
bring the two parties on the table.
They're the
You
same.
are having the same political parties, the same ideology,
yes.
the same members.
So do you think the new parties can come up, like the likes of Kingsley Moghalu, what's his party again? YPP? Because recently he was just endorsed by not only the Oni of
Wole Soyinka, you said?
No, he was endorsed by Wole Soyinka.
Professor Wole Soyinka.
Yes, and then
the Nobel laureate.
yes, there are two people actually just past week endorsed him. And to me, it was a big thing. But then, do you think the young politicians have a say, or have a, should I say, privilege? Not even privilege. Do you think most likely they will come up?
Basically, they've been coming up. They've been campaigning. We've been seeing
when
the
I
idea.
didn't come up, become the president of Nigeria.
Nigeria is a country whereby you can't predict. This is election coming on. I don't want to say anything that may be to predict, because I'm not a pastor. I don't see anything. But as far as I'm concerned, so look, I'm not predicting. So a person like Kingsley Moghalu now, looking at him, he's a technocrat.
Yes.
With huge experience, somebody who was a deputy governor in the central bank.
Yes.
He had served in the World Bank. He had worked with the United Nations.
Yes.
He's well exposed, well experienced.
Yes.
But Nigerian, don't be surprised. I don't want to say anything. We are talking about the people that will cast the vote. We are not talking about. Kingsley Moghalu has the ideas. Many aspirants. Look at Omoyele Sowore as well. You have many of them.
There's a word I always use, and I was asked not to use it. And I think you actually tried to correct me not to use it. The word recycle.
Yeah.
These guys are recycled politicians. And I think, I know you don't want to discuss that, because being a newscaster and a journalist, you're not supposed to side any particular party or anything, or condemn somebody. But really, I have to say it now. Nigeria should be tired of the recycled politicians. Let somebody like a young person, he doesn't have to be young at age. You mentioned like Kingsley Moghalu being qualified. If you're qualified,
he has an intimidating profile.
Yes, I know he does. That's why, if given the chance, I think Nigeria will be a better place. Not just people like my friends coming and talking about we want to impeach this person, we don't want to impeach that person, the Senate president and all that. I know it's a dead news, all right, but still. Election is only 9 days to go.
Absolutely. Election is only 9 days to go. But what I'm saying is that the problem of most of these politicians, even you're talking about Kingsley Moghalu, some of them won't have any problem with other politicians. It's problem. Everybody, every politicians, their problem is within. And the problem, before election, or perhaps you want people to cast vote for them for people to be voted for the politicians.
Yes.
Politicians, they go from, they went far to virtually all states to campaign. Yes. They are meeting people, and the same people who are going to cast this vote. But the problem now is that I will still reiterate that. I mean, I'm still emphasizing on it that the problem is with the people, because the people that will vote, actually, you mentioned that okay, maybe money change and they are buying people's, selling vote, changing people's mind with money. Who are we going to blame? You can't blame the politician. And those who are coming up now, they may have fantastic idea. They may have a good manifesto with the program that they are ready to implement if they've been elected. Who is going to give them the chance? It is the ordinary people on the street.
And that takes us back to one thing I actually like going on. Behind every bad story, there's a good story. In Imo State, they were able to stand up because taking us back to the program coming up, should I say the recorded program coming up after this. Some senators, okay, this is within now, APC. When Governor Rochas came up and insisted on putting up his son-in-law as the governor of, succeeded, like in the royals. I'm taking off my crown and I'm handing it over to the next person. So now his son-in-law is the person he deemed best to be the governor of his state under the same party. Now they stood up and fought against it. And the way I see things now, I don't see it happening. Like you said, who knows? But I hopefully don't see it happening. Apart from Imo State, is there any other state that you know that these loggerheads are fighting each other? Not like PDP against APC, like now. Actually, I've just heard it from when you said that SDP joined APC.
They choose President Muhammad Buhari as their consensus candidate.
Yeah, because there was a coalition part that they
this
had.
It wasn't the coalition. It's like their other members will contest on that flag party.
I know.
Under that.
I know, because that was the problem that these coalition people had. I call them the young parties. When a lot of them came up together to form a coalition under PDP. But they had something they said they were going to do. Like now, when we pick Buhari as the president, APC, if we want to pick deputy, it has to be from another party, maybe now SDP and all that. But it never worked. So now, how are we sure we can trusting politicians is what I've done now. How are we sure we can trust this coalition now? Picking up, you say it's not coalition. SDP picking up.
They only just adopted President Muhammad Buhari as their own constitutional candidate. It's like the party.
That's what it is.
They are supporting him.
Yes, of course.
And they believe in his own candidacy. And don't be surprised that some other parties could actually pick another person.
Is it not the same one that Donald Duke is supposed to be?
Absolutely. But you know that in SDP they have problem there.
So that's what I'm saying. So what happens to Donald Duke then?
Okay. I'm not a member of SDP. But what I can see is that there's a problem within. When there's a problem within, definitely they must address it. When they don't have any, when they don't agree.
You know why I'm laughing when I'm discussing this? Because there's this thing they always say: you form a party, generate followers, generate votes, and all that, and then sell your right to whoever. I hope that's not what SDP is doing.
No, it doesn't. As far as I think what the SDP, what really happened was that they find it very difficult to be able to pick one person. You could remember that they have two persons and they went to court. And I don't know precisely what happened at the end of it. But now they've agreed that, okay, let's go and adopt somebody. And they adopted President Muhammad Buhari.
The side that adopted Muhammad Buhari don't think they were paid to do it. There was money exchange.
In politics, I wouldn't know.
Always money.
I wouldn't know. But look at the case of Imo State that you mentioned.
Yes.
Look at Ogun State here. It happened the same thing. Because it's like the governor said he's not going to support the party's flag bearer, and he's supporting his own anointed candidate. And in politics, you have to remember that it's interest of everyone to come first. For instance, now you talk of that Imo State. Maybe the governor have seen some qualities, or perhaps which he strongly believed that this guy could perform. Well. And we cannot compare it to that of United Kingdom. For instance, now here, the Labour Party, they have their followers, they have their members, and the Conservative, they have their members as well. For instance, if the members were not happy with their party politics, with their party policy, in the next election, what they are going to do is that they may not vote the leader. I bet you will never see anybody, you won't see anybody crossing from Democratic Party, from Labour Party to Conservative. But the system of Nigeria, where you see somebody in APC today, tomorrow you will see them in PDP. I've read news and even got tired of it. You will see when they say PDP, 2,000 people have crossed over from APC to PDP. But the next tomorrow morning, you don't hear that, okay, from PDP, all of them, they've declared they are now members of APC. Let's all of us enjoy the scenario. Let us continue to watch. It's a fun. It is a fun.
Politics is fun. It's fun. Well, on this note, I hope we'll be able to convince you guys or make some points that politics in Nigeria is fun, all right? I believe it's fun. But please, do not die in the process of campaigning or putting your vote there. Let's play fair and simple. Let's not kill. Let's not fight. Let's have a one united Nigerian election pulled through. I must say thank you very much, sir. Again, Mr. Daudi.
Yeah.
Olatunji. Is it that Oladeji Daudi? So I beg your pardon, Mr. Oladeji Daudi. Thank you very much, and I hope we'll have more discussions like this in future.
Thank you very much.
Anytime you have time, or anytime I have a show like this, I hope I'll be privileged to have you on board.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And my viewers, I'll leave you to my show with Senator Ben Uwajumogu of Imo State. Good evening and welcome to Prime View, a program where we take the views of Nigerians all over the world, discuss them, and pose them to you, the politically exposed. My name is MsteeqMarlene. Unfortunately, my co-host, Spencer Nyamwalo, is not here to represent, but I'm reaching to you from Nigeria while he's in UK, Abuja precisely. And we've had a few programs, a few coverages and all that, but I haven't had one really as close as this, having the privilege to talk to one of the most distinguished senators in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Well, who am I talking about? I have to introduce him a little bit, but I'll let him give us the opportunity by telling us exactly who he is. He's none other than the right distinguished Senator Ben Uwajumogu of Okiwe Senatorial Zone. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlene. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. The program Prime View is a show we usually have on the Prime View Television and Heritage TV UK. So we are actually talking to diasporans as we're doing this. You're welcome. It's a privilege to have you, sir.
Hello, diasporans. It's nice to be on this show.
Thank you very much, sir. Before I go on with the few questions we have, can you please tell us a little bit about who Senator Ben Uwajumogu is?
My name is Senator Ben Uwajumogu. I come from Uwajumogu local government in Okigwe zone of Imo State. I represent the people of Imo North in the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Before now, I was the Right Honorable Speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly. I'm a product of the private sector, having run a couple of companies in manufacturing and in hospitality before coming into politics. I think that I belong to the progressive bent of politics, which is liberal. I'm a liberal politician, liberal democracy. I believe that we should put a human face, to political policies, and I believe that government is meant to create an environment for human beings to thrive. A good supporter, strong supporter of the government and the policies of Buhari. That's who I am.
That actually takes us straight to the first question I wanted to ask. The government of President Buhari being part of the government of APC. And my first question is, because while you watching from diaspora, a lot happened during the primaries of state APC. And I actually watched one of your videos where there was like two divided APCs, the Rochas and Korochas, and you're part of the APC. Can you please tell us, the diasporas, what actually transpired that period?
Well, as I said earlier, that I was the speaker of the Imo State, former speaker of the Imo State House of Assembly,
yes,
of the 7th session. During that period, I served under the administration as a speaker, and I must say that I've known Governor Rochas for well over 25 years prior to coming to our meeting in government. We had known each other. I'm very close friends before then. For 4 years, when I, was speaker, I believe we had a very successful government, because once the government is able to be returned back to power, it signifies acceptance by the people. And it was almost like a landslide victory, in the sense that we won 22 local governments out of 27. But coming into the second term, a lot of the policies of the government started taking a somersault. And those policies began to affect those same people that we had come to rescue. And I was quite comfortable with the fact that I couldn't continue any longer. And I had to let the governor know that I wasn't I wasn't in sync with what he was doing. I didn't like it, and I disapproved of it. Furthermore, when he decided that his son-in-law was going to succeed him at any cost, I was one of the first people who said no, and that led to a political disagreement between the both of us. And from there, we started fighting over control of the party. In Congress to the convention, where I was forced to resign as secretary of the convention.
Yes, I know about that, okay.
I resigned because...
Sorry, can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Did you say you were forced to resign? Because that wasn't what we heard in diaspora.
But when I say forced, I was forced by circumstances.
Okay.
Not that anybody forced me to resign.
Okay, yeah, that's precisely.
Well, circumstances that forced me to resign. One, my official reason, that I needed to be with my family.
Family, yes, I heard that.
Yes, and the time which had been scheduled for that convention had clashed with the graduation ceremonies of my children.
Yes, I heard that.
That was one. Secondly, the Imo State Governor Rochas had made so much allegations against me, and he had made representations to the president that my continued, stay as a secretary, was going to deny him the right to free and fair representation at the convention. That if I remained as secretary, the candidates on his slate would not be given a chance to win. So in order to prove that that wasn't why I was secretary and that it wasn't what I wanted to do, and to give peace a chance, those combined factors made me resign, and the rest, they say, is history.
Fantastic, because that's really, really like putting something. There was a lot of speculations, and that was really good to hear. And my just chip in, since all these catastrophes, are you still in good terms with Governor Roches?
I've told you that I've known Governor Okorocha for over 25 years, and in the last 2-3 years, we haven't been quite close. We have had political misunderstanding. I still love him as a friend. I still love him as somebody who, at a point, was my principal. And his children are very close friends of mine. I love them. But I had to disagree with him because there was need to save Imo State.
Okay.
I think he lost it at some point.
Yeah.
It was my duty not to collaborate with him when I knew that, it wasn't doing the right thing. I still hope and pray that our relationship can continue. I don't bear any ill against him. So I hope he will be able to, go put himself above all of that and continue to have the personal relationship that we have. For me, I'll still consider him a friend.
Well, at heart, rather, while you were the Speaker of the Assembly in Imo State, was there any bill that was passed then to help the lives of the Imo people?
We passed so many bills. In fact, the 2 bills that were uppermost in my heart that I still think are one of the most celebrated bills in my mind, in fact, 3 bills.
Okay.
But, it's not enough to just pass bills. It's the way people see it and the way it's implemented. Very early in our tenure, we looked at all other governments and realized that the major issues in government was to rein in the high cost of recurrent expenditure in government. We found that in most administrations, capital budget is always less than 15% of the total budget every year. The recurrent budget took almost everything. Because the recurrent budget is the budget I use for transport and travel, running government on a daily basis. And there is no investment in the society from the current budget. So we felt that there was a need for us to fix the capital budget of Imo State and, by law, tie the federal government, the state government into implementing certain projects which should be on the quality of local governments and the quality of zones. So that's what gave rise to the 4-year capital budget, which people misunderstood and say that the Imo State House of Assembly under my watch gave the governor 4 years budget. First of all, it is not possible to give a governor 4 years budget. A budget is an estimate of revenue and expenditure for a given specific period of 1 year. So you cannot in any sense give a 4-year budget to any government. So that people, the media and other hyped it, that we gave the government a 4-year budget, which is not true. What we did was a 4-year capital rolling plan, which was now passed as a 4-year capital budget, because the budget is law, and we wanted to make it a law. And what was in the capital budget? That we were going to build 305 primary schools, which we did. That we were going to build 15 kilometers of asphalted roads in each local government, which we did, and we started them. And I think to a considerable extent, we achieved that. You know, we are going to build other educational facilities, like the IMO Advanced, called ICAP, IMO College of Advanced Professional Studies. We had a young scientist school. We hired 3,000 more teachers and gave them tests and arranged training for all our new teachers. You know, we recovered a couple of industries which had been seized and sold and underutilized, like the resin and paint and photo poetry. You know, we try to expand and renew the Adapam plantation. See, all those things were contained. We had a capital budget of 221 billion because we felt that we could spend that amount. Budgeted for the township roads in Olo, Owerri, and Okigwe. Yes. We budgeted for stadiums in the three zones. We budgeted for so many projects. I don't have all of them on Fed today, and most of these projects were commenced. Some are still have been completed. Some are in different stages of completion. But that's also part of the reason why we fell out, because at some point, you know, the implementation of these projects became very haphazard. Yes. And it was obvious that the government had lost desire to continue with those projects. So that's one law that I liked. The second law, which was very dear to me, was the law called the VAP law. It's the Violence Against Persons law. That law was targeted at women, youths, and the deprived in the society. Unfortunately, one aspect of the law which gave a woman total control of her body in cases of medical or termination of pregnancy, you know, was misunderstood and, of course, was misread, and a lot of mischief brought into the law, which raised the Catholic Church and religious organizations against the House of Assembly, and people termed it abortion law. Yeah. You know. However, what that law meant was, this was a law that gave women, you know, the power to sue and ask for damages from their husbands for acts of violence against them. This was a law that stopped the cultural thing that used to happen when a woman dies. The widows, you bring a widow who will come to the public and then swear an oath or drink a concussion or use. You know, that law made it a crime for anybody to administer oath or all of that on a widow. It protected a widow. Yes. The law also protected a widow and her children to the rights of the properties of their husbands. Wow, that would be fantastic. You know, in situations, you know, where cultures clash with such this thing. The law also banned the so-called Osu and Ume caste. You know, and I believe it was a law that would have settled so many things. As a matter of fact, when we passed that law, we clapped for ourselves. That would have been fantastic. You know, the law also says that a woman has a right to determine for herself in cases of pregnancy caused by rape, or you know, when a woman carrying the pregnancy to term will endanger her life. Because all too often women have to get permission of their husbands or husbands' families, even when it has been determined medically that if this woman carries this pregnancy to them, that she's likely to die.
Yeah.
You know, so we thought it made more sense to have the woman, be the one to, as an adult, to determine for herself. And even at that, in that law, we said there must be in every state, there must be a 5-man panel of medical doctors, that will look into the woman's decision and approve it. But of course, the moment that happened, it was marketed as an abortion law. And in fact, the man who pursued this matter the way he pursued it was a medical doctor, one Dr. Njemani. And you would think that he would have read this law. Yeah, and even when the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church and everybody was, there was street protest against that. And I said, okay, can we amend the law, remove those aspects?
Yes, and leave the other.
Yeah, but, we were forced to repeal the law, just to please the Catholic Church and the other churches. And I think we lost a great deal of, important aspects of that law, which would have helped our society today. Wow. Those are the two, there were so many laws that we made. Of course, the budgets that we passed, which gave me the opportunity to put in projects in my zone. Like there are certain projects we did on what is called, on what we call the equality of local governments. Meaning that if you do here, you must do there, like the school, the merger of primary schools, which helped to raise, primary school enrollment from less than 200,000 where we met it to over 850,000 by the time we left office. So it's a period I'm very proud to say that we did our best.
Okay, and then you talked about the roads. You talked about so many things that you did, but the roads in particular, because my co-host was in Nigeria about 2-3 months ago, and kind of had a road trip around Imo and Abia State. And what he noticed, particularly the road leading from Owerri to Okigwe, he said was really in a bad, terrible condition.
Yeah.
And that initially, APC was claiming, I'm not bringing it now, like a competition between APC and PDP. PDP claimed they started it off, and APC still yet cannot finish it, and that place is really bad.
I don't know what road they're talking about. If they're talking about Owerri, Enugu to...
It's Owerri to Okigwe. And then somehow Owerri Onitsha Road.
Well, Owerri Onitsha Road, was built by the PDP. Yes, I agree. Less than 20 years ago. It is still a shock that less than 20 years the road has dilapidated to the extent where it has. So, which goes to show that the road wasn't properly constructed. It's supposed to be a highway. We're happy that it was done. But, if you see the roads that have been done under this administration by the Buhari government, if you see what is happening between Enugu and Port Harcourt Express Road, you will appreciate that this government is a government that recognizes and understands quality. The road from Enugu to Port Harcourt is over 200 and something kilometers. And the road is being done with some cement. The soil in the southeast is often clay. And because during the rainy season, they tend to, give up. So you can't build such a highway if it is not cement, sand, stabilized. And that is what the government has done today. The Enugu Port Harcourt Road, the entire length of the road is being done cement, sand stabilization with the base is controlled by laterite and stone base. And there's binding and wearing costs. These roads are being constructed to last for 40 years. It will not be, definitely will not be like Onitsha to Owerri Road. Now, coming to the Okigwe Road, yes. Let me also say that I came to the Senate in 2016, end of September. So I've been in the Senate for 2 years and some. And I'm aware that over this last rainy season, the roads leading to Okigwe have become a bit dilapidated.
Yes.
But the good news is that the Federal Emergency Road Maintenance Agency is on that road right now.
Okay.
It's been awarded and the contractor is mobilizing. Also, from Umwaya to 7.5 to Uriago, up to Melemaya, has just been awarded by the federal government for reconstruction under my watch.
Okay.
So we've also attracted several roads, the Umulolo to Arodizo, a road that has been abandoned.
Yes, that would have
so
been on
now
the road, yeah.
that the road has just been reconstructed at a cost of over 9 billion naira. As I'm talking to you, 28 kilometers of the road has been reconstructed and is in great shape. So I think we've done quite a lot for our people.
Okay, and then let me take out the road. We're still on Okigwe. You're from. That's why I'm laying emphasis on Okigwe, because you're from there. During these APC underreaches, Olo and Okigwe, he promised he'll be urbanized, and up till now, it's not halfway like Owerri is.
Well, like I said, part of what brought the problem between Richard and I was the lack of implementation of the plans that we had.
Yeah.
And because of that, we had issues. We had, at the onset of our administration, the first 1.5 years, for example, in Okigwe, we awarded all the roads in the township, all. And the roads started. Part of the problem was governor refusing to pay to some contractors.
Yes, I heard that.
We awarded a 4-star hotel called, Princess Hotel in Okigwe, and they've just left it at the 4th floor. It was supposed to be a 16-story building. It was part of the project that we started. We started a stadium, which is just nearing completion now. We started a shopping center, which to today has not really taken off. I don't really know the reason.
Everything you just started.
Exactly. So I would say that we played our own part. Beyond Okigwe town, I was responsible for deciding, of bringing into fruition the university in Umuna, the polytechnic in the Imembano, the College of Education in Itubo. I recognize from onset the importance of education and educational institutions within Okigwe and the role they play in modernizing and developing our people. So I facilitated all those work. Not only did I pass the law, in some instances I used my money to commence the construction of these places.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So I believe we did our best. If all that we put on ground had been implemented, Okigwe would be different today. But at least we're not where we used to be. We hope that we'll continue to move from where we are.
Okay, so we'll leave Okigwe, come back to Imo State. APC and PDP. Why should we still put APC in Imo State? All this. First of all, APC is divided in Imo State. And PDP is like capitalizing on it.
Well, PDP is divided too.
Well,
there's no party today in Nigeria that is not hurting. As long as there's a contest. And in Nigeria, people don't lose elections, whether primaries or there must be a reason. So today, I'm sure you must have heard recently of a breakaway group from PDP.
Yes.
In Imo that calls itself the NPDP,
yes,
which is the new PDP.
Yes,
that doesn't portend good for the party, So PDP has as much problems as APC.
Okay.
But you see, APC is at the national level. We've done very well at the national level, and I believe that Imo will know that if not for this interim of 3 years where the governor lost focus, that APC remains the party to beat. This is the first party in Nigeria that will rebel against its leadership.
Yeah.
you know, and decided to tell the world that leadership is not doing well. Other parties will sweep it under the table. So I think we should be commended, you know, for, you know, being able to stand against our leader and say, this is not right.
Okay, I know we have so much to ask you, but I know you have a plane to catch this evening. But before I let you go, sir, can you just advise the diasporans a little bit about how we can come back and be part of this?
We talked about the diaspora vote.
Yes. With our votes, they say don't count.
No, well, you know, I think it's part of the amendment that we did in the... I supported it and I still support it. I think that once you're in Nigerian, technology has made it so that, you know, you can capture people's wishes and votes on time, real time, and online, you know. So I believe that by the next election, INEC should be able to work out a system that would allow for diaspora voting that is rig-free, you know, which will be robust enough, you know, and its integrity, you know, can hold. So I support it, and I believe that the federal government of Nigeria also supports it. I believe that in 2023, we will begin to take diaspora votes.
Wow. Thank you very much, sir, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, my viewers, for watching. And on this note, I hope you enjoyed it. On this note, I must say good night from Straight Talk. Till next week.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.